Imagine waking up in the morning, filled with peace, but by evening, something small makes your blood boil. Imagine being able to smile when someone cuts you off in traffic, or remain calm when a loved one says something hurtful. Imagine a life where you no longer carry the burden of anger, where peace stays with you no matter what the world throws your way. Have you ever felt angry at someone and later regretted your reaction? Have you ever wondered why it's so easy to lose control, even over the smallest things? Why does our mind hold on to moments of pain, and why does anger seem to grow stronger the more we try to push it away? Let's take a simple example. A man is walking down the street, and someone bumps into him without saying sorry. For hours, he keeps thinking about it, his mind replaying the scene again and again. That bump becomes a storm in his heart. This is how anger works. It turns a moment into a monster. Welcome to Wisdom Writings, where we explore the deeper truths of life through the timeless lens of Buddhist wisdom. If this message touches your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps spread peace. And to stay connected with calmness throughout this video, comment Namo Buddhari below. It's more than words. It's a way to stay positive and focused till the very end. Anger isn't just a reaction, it's a habit. Buddhism teaches that anger is not something outside of us, it's a fire within. And like any fire, if we don't feed it, it slowly dies out. But when we keep adding thoughts, blame, and ego to it, it grows until it burns not only others but ourselves too. In our daily lives, we think we get angry because of other people, but the truth is, anger rises from within us. It is a signal from the mind, not the world. The Buddha said that holding on to anger is like holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. This video is not just about controlling anger, it's about understanding it, where it comes from, why it stays, and how we can live without it. Anger isn't solved by force, it is healed by understanding. And the first step is realizing that we have the power to choose peace in every moment. Stay with us. This journey is not just for learning, it's for transformation. In life, many believe they hold the reins tightly. We imagine ourselves as captains of a vast ship, steering through stormy seas with power and control. But this belief, this grip on control, is often an illusion. The moment we think we can control everything, anger begins to rise. Why? Because when things don't go as we expect, frustration builds and anger takes its place. The ego, that small voice inside that says, I am right, or this should be my way, is the root of much suffering. It creates a story where the world must bend to our will. But the world does not obey. Clouds drift where the wind guides. Rivers flow their own course. And so do people and events. When reality clashes with ego, the fire of anger ignites. Imagine trying to hold water tightly in your hands. No matter how hard you try, it slips through your fingers. Our desire to control life is like that water. The tighter we hold, the more it escapes. The more we push, the more we break. This is the nature of existence, impermanent and ever-changing. The Zen master once said, do not cling to the shape of a leaf in the wind. This means we must learn to let go. When we release the need to control, the energy of anger weakens. When we accept life as it comes, we move from resistance to peace. The ego creates a false self, a mask that demands respect, fairness, and recognition. When others do not meet these demands, the ego feels attacked, and anger floods in like a rising tide. But beneath the mask, beneath the false self, is a calm and vast space. This space is our true nature, untouched by the storms of the mind. Letting go does not mean weakness or giving up. It means strength, the strength to face life as it is, without clinging to how we think it should be. Like the bamboo that bends with the wind but does not break, we too can learn to flow with life's changes. One who seeks to never be angry again must first understand that anger arises from attachment, the attachment to how things must be. When the ego says, this is not fair, or I deserve better, anger is born. But when we can watch these thoughts without reacting, We create space between the stimulus and our response. This space is the beginning of freedom. It is a sacred pause where wisdom can arise. It allows us to choose peace over rage, understanding over blame. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is desire and attachment. We desire the world to stay the same, but it does not. We cling to people, places, and ideas, but all are subject to change. This is why anger is such a painful experience. It is our mind's way of saying, I am resisting the truth of change. To let go of anger, one must first see this truth clearly. Change is the nature of life. To resist is to suffer. To accept is to be free. Practicing this acceptance begins in small moments. When someone speaks harshly, instead of reacting, pause. See the ego's voice wanting to fight back. Recognize it, then gently let it pass like a cloud floating across the sky. This is not easy. The ego is strong, and old habits die slowly. But with patience and practice, the fire of anger loses its fuel. It becomes a flicker, then a whisper, until it finally fades. In this fading, peace grows. And peace is not the absence of challenges or conflicts. It is the presence of understanding and surrender. True control is not forcing the world to follow our will. True control is mastering the mind that craves control, is calming the storm inside, no matter what happens outside. In letting go of ego, we discover humility, the humble knowing that life is greater than our desires, more mysterious than our plans. And in this humility, anger has no place to grow. The wise person sees that trying to control others is like trying to catch the wind. It is futile and causes only suffering. Instead, the wise person turns inward, calming the mind's turbulence. They realize that peace is found not in the world, but in how the mind responds to the world. This shift from trying to control everything outside to mastering the peace inside is the path away from anger. When you understand this deeply, anger loses its power. It becomes like a passing storm, not a permanent weather in the heart. The journey to never get angry again begins with seeing the illusion of control and choosing to release it. It begins with letting the ego rest and discovering the stillness beneath. This is the true freedom the Buddha taught. To live without anger, we must live with humility. We must trust the flow of life, even when it is unpredictable. And in this trust, we find peace. The fire of anger needs our fuel, our attachment, our ego, our need to be right. Take away that fuel, and the fire dies. This is not magic. It is simple truth, but it takes courage to face it. Courage to watch the ego, to step back from anger, to accept life as it is. The path is not always smooth. Sometimes old anger returns, like waves on the shore. But each time we meet these waves with awareness, they lose strength. Each time we let go a little more, peace grows stronger. In this way, the heart becomes soft, wide, and free. The illusion of control melts away like morning mist, and in its place rises a calm that no storm can shake. This is the way of the wise. This is the way beyond anger. Imagine sitting quietly by a calm pond. The water is still, reflecting the sky and trees without a single ripple. This is the state of mind before anger arises, calm, clear, and peaceful. But sometimes a small stone falls into the water. Suddenly, the surface ripples and disturbs the reflection. That stone is like anger, small at first, but it can disturb the whole mind if left unchecked. The key to never getting angry again is not to wait for anger to explode, but to see it before it begins. This is mindfulness. Mindfulness means watching your mind like a gentle guard watches a door. When the first signs of anger come, you notice them clearly. You don't push them away or run after them. You simply watch. Most people do not see anger before it grows. It hides behind thoughts, feelings, and body sensations. Sometimes it is a tightness in the chest. Sometimes it is a quickened heartbeat or a tense jaw. When these signs appear, the mind usually jumps into old stories. They did this to me, or I am right and they are wrong. But if you can just pause and watch the tightness or heat without adding stories, the anger often loses its power. This watching is like catching a flame before it becomes a fire. The moment before anger takes hold is very small, but if you learn to recognize it, you can prevent the whole storm from starting. To be mindful is not difficult, but it does take practice. When you feel irritation rising, take a breath and observe it like a curious child looking at something new. What does it feel like in your body? What thoughts come to your mind? Do not judge yourself for feeling angry. Accept that the feeling is there, like a cloud passing in the sky. When you observe anger without reacting, you give it space to soften. It becomes less sharp, less demanding, and often it fades away by itself. This is because anger needs your energy to grow. If you stop feeding it with reaction, it cannot survive. Zen teaches us that the mind is like the sky, vast and open. Emotions like anger are like weather passing through the sky. They are temporary and ever-changing. If you cling to a passing cloud, you suffer. But if you watch it come and go, you remain peaceful and free. Mindfulness also means being present in the moment. Often, anger arises because we are lost in the past or worried about the future. We think about what someone said yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. This thinking pulls us away from the calm of the present. When you come back to now, your breath, your body, the sounds around you, anger loses its hold. Try this now. When you feel anger rising, stop. Close your eyes if you can. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel the air entering your lungs and leaving your body. Let your attention rest on this simple act. The breath is your anchor, keeping you steady when the storm of anger threatens. You may wonder, is this enough? Will anger really disappear just by breathing? The answer is yes, if you keep practicing. Like training a muscle, your mind learns to stay calm. Each time you choose mindfulness over reaction, you grow stronger. The Buddha taught that anger is one of the 3 poisons that cloud the mind. The other 2 are greed and ignorance. These poisons make us suffer. But mindfulness is the medicine. It clears the mind, revealing our true nature, peaceful, kind, and wise. Mindfulness is not about suppressing anger or pretending it doesn't exist. It is about knowing anger deeply. When you see it clearly, without judgment or fear, it loses its control over you. Sometimes, mindfulness will show you that anger is hiding beneath other feelings, hurt, fear, or disappointment. By being present with these feelings, you understand their true nature and respond with kindness to yourself and others. This gentle watching is the path to freedom. It is the way the Zen master walks. Calm in the middle of chaos, clear when the world is noisy. Do not rush this process. Mindfulness is like planting a seed. At first, you may not see any change. But if you water it daily, slowly a flower will bloom. Remember, anger is not your enemy. It is a teacher showing you where your mind needs care. When you watch anger mindfully, you learn patience and compassion. You see how all beings struggle with difficult emotions. In this way, mindfulness connects you to the deeper truth that we are not alone in our suffering. This connection brings peace and kindness into your heart. So when anger comes next time, do not run or fight. Stop and watch. Notice the sensations, the thoughts, the feelings. Let them pass like clouds across the sky. You will find that anger, once so fierce, becomes a gentle breeze. And in that breeze, your true calm shines bright. This practice is not magic. It is simple and real. It is the way of the awakened mind. And with patience, you will never be ruled by anger again. There is great power in silence. Many seek to speak first, to defend, to prove, or to react with force. But the true strength lies in quietness, a silence that comes from deep within, not from fear or weakness, but from wisdom and calmness. When anger begins to rise, the mind wants to explode like a volcano, to shout, to lash out. But the Zen way teaches us to pause, to breathe, and to choose silence instead. Imagine a lake in the early morning. The surface is perfectly still, reflecting the sky above like a clear mirror. Now, imagine a stone thrown into that lake. The water ripples and disturbs the calm surface. But soon, The waves settle, and the lake returns to its peaceful state. Our mind is like this lake. Anger is the stone that disrupts the calm. But if we learn to remain silent and still, the anger passes and peace returns. Many people think silence means weakness or giving up. But true silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is the space between words where clarity grows. When someone provokes us, it is natural to respond quickly, often with harsh words or actions. But this response only adds fuel to the fire. Instead, the Zen teaches us to hold that moment of silence, to let the anger cool like embers dying down. When anger rises, the breath shortens and the heart pounds. This is the body's way of preparing to react. But the mind can step in before the reaction happens. In that brief pause, we find the choice to speak with anger or to choose silence. This choice is the beginning of freedom. There's a story of a great Zen master who was once insulted by a visitor. Instead of answering back, the master remained completely silent. The visitor, expecting a fight, became confused and left. The master's silence was like a shield that deflected the attack without harm. This is the power of silence. Not to harm others, but to protect your own peace. In everyday life, silence can be a simple breath, a moment of stillness before responding. It is not about ignoring the problem or suppressing feelings. It is about giving space for understanding to grow. When we remain silent, we allow the storm of emotions to pass without becoming caught in the waves. Silence is also a form of respect. It honors the other person's feelings and your own. It tells the world that you're not a slave to every impulse. Instead, you're the master of your mind. Anger loses its power when it is met with calm, not confrontation. This does not mean that silence is always easy. Sometimes, silence can feel like loneliness or emptiness. But the Zen way shows us that within silence, there's a deep connection to ourselves and the world. It is in silence that we hear the true voice of wisdom. When we practice silence, we start to notice how often our anger is based on misunderstandings or expectations. The mind jumps to conclusions, assuming the worst, and reacts before it knows the full truth. Silence gives time to see things clearly, to realize that maybe the other person did not intend harm, or that the situation is not as urgent as it seems. There is a meditation practice called not speaking, where one simply observes thoughts and feelings without reacting. This practice builds the muscle of silence and patience. Over time, it helps us respond less and understand more. Choosing silence is like planting a seed of peace in a field of chaos. It does not solve every problem immediately, but it changes the way we live with others and with ourselves. When anger arises, silence offers a choice, a doorway to peace instead of pain. The mind often fears silence because it is uncomfortable to sit with difficult feelings without distraction. Yet, it is precisely in this discomfort that transformation happens. The fire of anger loses its fuel when it is met with silence and gentle awareness. Consider the sound of nature, the wind through trees, the gentle fall of rain, the soft call of a bird. These sounds come from a place of stillness. They do not rush or force themselves. They simply are. When we cultivate silence inside, we become like nature, calm, patient, and deeply connected. In a world filled with noise, arguments, and haste, silence is a rare treasure. It is a refuge where we can heal and grow. When anger knocks on your door, invite silence to answer. Let's speak softly, and you will find a calm beyond the storm. Silence also helps us see the truth about ourselves. Often, anger is a mask for fear, hurt, or disappointment. When we stop reacting and listen in silence, we begin to understand the deeper causes of our emotions. This understanding is the first step to healing. There is no shame in choosing silence. It takes courage to stop, to breathe, and to let go of the urge to fight back. But this courage is the mark of wisdom. The more we practice, the more silence becomes a natural response, a refuge in times of turmoil. Imagine a world where people choose silence over anger, listening over shouting, calm over chaos. This world is possible, not because anger disappears completely, but because we learn to meet it with peace. In silence, there's freedom. Freedom from the endless cycle of reaction and regret. Freedom from the chains of anger that bind the heart and mind. Freedom to live with clarity, kindness, and joy. The next time anger rises, remember the lake, the stone, and the returning calm. Remember the power you hold in the space between impulse and action. Choose silence. Choose peace. This is the way of the Zen master. Not to fight fire with fire, but to let the fire burn out quietly, naturally, and without harm. When anger arises, it feels like a storm inside us, wild and uncontrollable. The mind becomes clouded, and our heart feels heavy. But what if, instead of letting anger take over, we learn to see it as a message from the heart, a sign that something inside needs gentle care and understanding? In the quiet moments of reflection, we begin to realize that anger often hides pain, fear, or misunderstanding. When someone hurts us, it is easy to respond with anger because the mind seeks to protect itself. Yet, this reaction only adds more suffering, not just to others but to ourselves. Imagine looking at a person who has made you angry, not with harshness or blame, but with a soft, curious heart. What do you see then? Behind their actions, behind their words, there is a story, a life filled with struggles, fears, and hopes, just like yours. When we open our heart to this understanding, anger begins to lose its grip. This is the power of compassion. Compassion is not about weakness or pretending everything is okay. It is a deep strength that comes from seeing clearly the pain behind anger, both in others and in ourselves. When compassion fills our heart, anger is transformed. It no longer controls us. The Buddha taught that all beings wish to be happy and free from suffering. Yet, many do not know the path to peace. When we recognize this shared wish, we feel closer to those who cause us pain. Instead of seeing them as enemies, we see them as fellow travelers on the path of life. This does not mean accepting harm or allowing others to hurt us repeatedly. Compassion includes wisdom. It teaches us to protect ourselves gently and kindly, setting boundaries without hatred. The heart that is strong with compassion knows when to step back and when to reach out. When anger rises, pause. Take a slow breath. Remember that the person who caused your anger is not separate from the whole of life. They are part of the same river of existence as you. Their suffering is your suffering. Their pain touches your heart. It is said that hatred never ends by hatred. It ends by love. This is not a sentimental love, but a love that sees clearly and acts with kindness and understanding. When anger comes, let love be the response. Not as weakness, but as the greatest strength. You might wonder, how can I find compassion for someone who has deeply hurt me? The answer begins with compassion for yourself. When your own heart is gentle and kind, it becomes easier to extend that kindness to others. Healing starts within. Each time you feel anger, try to see what lies beneath it. Is it fear? Is it sadness? Is it a misunderstanding? When you recognize these feelings, speak kindly to yourself. I understand your pain. This kindness will slowly soften the fire inside. With practice, you will find the space between anger and reaction grows wider. In that space, compassion blooms. You might find yourself forgiving not just others, but also forgiving your own past mistakes and moments of weakness. Compassion also invites patience. People change slowly. Your own heart changes slowly. But every small moment of kindness, every breath taken with love, builds a stronger heart, a heart that does not break under the weight of anger. There's a story of a Zen master who said, "If someone slaps your face, offer them the other cheek too." This teaching is not about inviting harm, but about refusing to respond to violence with more violence. It is the courage to break the cycle of anger and pain. When compassion fills your heart, you no longer live by reacting to every slight or insult. Instead, You live from a place of calm and understanding. Your anger becomes a teacher, showing you where your heart needs care. In the practice of compassion, we learn to see ourselves in others and others in ourselves. This deep connection dissolves the walls of separation that anger builds. It is this connection that brings true peace. Anger, when met with compassion, is like water meeting fire. It cools, it calms, it clears. It allows the heart to open and breathe freely. You become like a calm lake reflecting the sky, undisturbed by passing storms. This path is not easy. It requires courage to look honestly at our own pain and the pain of others. It requires patience to keep practicing, even when old habits of anger call us back. But every step on this path brings us closer to freedom. The heart that chooses compassion is a heart that chooses peace. It is a heart that understands that hurting others only hurts itself. It is a heart that sees beyond anger to the humanity beneath. Remember, compassion is a practice, not a feeling. Some days it will come easily, other days it will be a struggle. But each time you choose compassion over anger, you heal a part of the world and yourself. Let your life be an example of this great strength. When anger tries to rise, meet it with understanding. When pain tries to cling, meet it with kindness. When fear tries to whisper, meet it with love. In time, you will find that anger no longer controls your life. Instead, your heart will become a source of calm, a source of healing, a source of light for those around you. This is the way of the compassionate heart, a path that transforms anger into peace and suffering into understanding. It is a gift you give to yourself and to the world. Walk this path gently. Walk it with courage. Walk it with an open heart. Imagine a pond early in the morning. The water is still and clear. The surface reflects the sky, the trees, and the stones beneath. Now imagine a single leaf falling onto that water. The pond ripples, the reflection wavers, but the water itself remains, always present beneath the waves. This pond is like our mind, and the ripples are like the emotions that rise and fall. Anger, like the leaf, disturbs the surface, but it is not the water itself. It is temporary. When we understand this deeply, anger loses its power. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called emptiness. It does not mean nothingness or emptiness in a sad way. It means that everything we think of as solid, fixed, or real is actually not permanent. Our sense of self, the I, the me, is like the ripples, always changing, never truly stable. The anger we feel arises from our attachment to this idea of self. When something threatens who we think we are or what we believe should be, the mind reacts with anger to protect itself. But if this self is not truly fixed or real, what is there to protect? What is there to get angry about? Try to see yourself like the sky. Clouds may come and go. Storms may rage, but the sky remains vast and open. Our true nature is like the sky, open, calm, and beyond the reach of temporary emotions like anger. When we cling tightly to our ideas, our beliefs, or our identity, we trap ourselves inside a prison built by the mind. This prison is the source of suffering. Anger is one of the guards of this prison, always ready to defend it. But once we see that the self is not a fixed thing, the guards lose their reason to fight. The prison doors open, and we can step outside. This is the wisdom of emptiness. It teaches us that holding on to anger is holding on to something that does not truly exist. When a mind lets go of the need to defend a fixed self, anger begins to dissolve naturally. Look at how a child laughs easily. A child does not carry the heavy weight of fixed identity or pride. Anger is less common because the child's mind has not yet built strong walls of self. We can learn from this simplicity, but this does not mean becoming careless or indifferent. It means seeing things as they are, without adding stories or judgments. When someone harms us, instead of reacting immediately with anger, we can pause and ask, who is the I that feels hurt? Was the self being threatened? If we watch carefully, we see the I is always shifting, sometimes strong, sometimes weak, sometimes proud, sometimes humble. It is like a shadow that moves with the light. We cannot grasp it. With this insight, anger loses its roots. It is like a fire without fuel. The mind grows peaceful because it no longer feeds the flames. The Zen masters say, "Let the self melt like salt in water." When salt dissolves, it changes the water but disappears as a separate thing. The self, when understood this way, blends with life instead of fighting against it. This does not happen overnight. It is a gentle process of watching, questioning, and letting go. Every time anger arises, we can remind ourselves that this is a chance to practice seeing emptiness. When you feel anger arising, breathe deeply and notice the feeling without pushing it away or grabbing it tightly. Watch like a cloud passing through the sky of your mind. You will discover that anger, like the cloud, is not permanent. It is always changing, always moving on. When you practice this regularly, the storms inside you calm down. The peace that follows is not fake or forced. It is natural, like the calm water beneath the ripples. This is true freedom, not freedom from problems, but freedom from being controlled by them. When the self is no longer clinging, anger cannot find a place to grow. You become like the vast sky, open, clear, and deeply calm. In daily life, this wisdom helps in every moment. When someone's words sting or their actions hurt, the mind can respond from a place of openness instead of tightness. You see, anger is a visitor. It knocks loudly, demanding attention, but it cannot stay forever if you do not invite it in. Emptiness is not a void. It is a fullness beyond the limits of the small self. It is the heart of compassion, the source of kindness, and the wellspring of peace. So the next time anger stirs, pause and look deeply. Ask yourself, is this anger mine? What is this self that is angry? Can I let this go? You may find that the self you thought was solid is more like the wind, moving, changing, never holding on. And when the self loosens its grip, the fire of anger slowly dies down. Peace grows naturally, without effort or struggle. This is the way of the wise. It is not about fighting anger, but about seeing through the illusions that feed it. Remember, the pond is always there beneath the waves. The sky remains beyond the clouds. The wisdom of emptiness invites you to live free from the chains of fixed identity and angry reactions. It invites you to be like water, flexible, calm, and clear. Let this truth sink deeply into your heart and watch how your life begins to change. This is not a theory, but a lived experience, the path to true freedom from anger. Let your mind open like the vast sky, and know that anger is just a passing cloud, never your true nature. The path of patience is a gentle way. It is not a path of rushing or forcing, but a path of understanding and quiet strength. When anger rises, many believe they must fight it or run away from it. But true patience is not about resisting anger. It is about welcoming it with calmness, like a gentle rain that falls and then disappears. Imagine a tree standing tall in the wind. The storm may blow hard, but the tree does not break. It bends. It listens. It stays rooted. Patience is like that tree. It is strength wrapped in softness. Each day, small things happen that can make the mind restless. A sharp word, a careless action, a delay. These moments can spark anger, but they do not have to control you. The Zen way teaches us to meet these moments with breath and presence. When the irritation comes, breathe in deeply. Do not let the mind jump into stories of blame or hurt. Just watch the feeling like a cloud passing in the sky. The mind is like water. When disturbed, it becomes muddy and unclear. But when left still, it shines and reflects everything clearly. Patience is the stillness of the water. It allows clarity to return. In daily life, patience is tested in many ways. Maybe a friend forgets a promise. Maybe a coworker speaks harshly. Maybe you're stuck in traffic, feeling time slipping away. In these moments, patience is not weakness. It is the choice to stay peaceful inside. The Zen master teaches that anger grows when a mind holds on tightly to what it wants or thinks should be. It is like grabbing a hot coal, thinking you can throw it without pain. but the heat burns your hand first. To walk the path of patience, we must loosen our grip on how things should be. We must learn to accept life as it comes, with all its imperfections. This does not mean giving up or being careless. It means seeing clearly. When a mind accepts what is, it stops fighting shadows, and the energy wasted in anger returns to calmness. A simple practice helps this. When anger or impatience rises, stop. Take 3 deep breaths. Feel the breath move in and out. Let the body relax. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Feel the space around you. This brings you back to the present moment. The present moment is where life happens. It is the only place free from the stories of the past or the worries of the future. In this moment, patience lives. It is not far away. It is here, always waiting. In the quiet moments of patience, the heart softens. We begin to see others not as obstacles or enemies, but as fellow travelers, each carrying their own burdens. Patience opens the door to compassion, and compassion cools the fires of anger. Remember, patience is a practice, not a goal. Like the lotus flower, it takes time to bloom. Some days are easier, some days are hard. On difficult days, be gentle with yourself. The Zen way is not about perfection, but about returning again and again to peace. Anger is like a guest that visits without warning. It may stay for a while, but it cannot stay forever. When you practice patience, you offer that guest a quiet room and a cup of tea. You do not fight. You do not run. You simply let it be until it leaves on its own. Through patience, you learn to listen deeply. You hear the whispers beneath the noise. You feel the stillness beneath the storm. You become the calm eye in the center of life's hurricane. This calmness is not empty or weak. It is full of strength and wisdom. It does not react quickly to every spark, but waits with quiet confidence. It chooses peace over conflict, understanding over judgment. The Zen master often reminds us that time is the greatest healer, but time alone is not enough. How we spend time, how we breathe through moments of trial, shapes the quality of our peace. Patience is the art of spending time wisely. Practice patience in small ways each day. When waiting in line, breathe. When someone speaks sharply, listen. When frustration rises, pause. These small moments build a strong foundation. When patience grows strong, anger loses its power. It no longer controls your thoughts or actions. You are free to respond with kindness, wisdom, and calm. This freedom is the gift of patience. It brings joy that does not depend on outside events. It brings peace that no storm can shake. So walk the path of patience with an open heart. Be gentle with your own struggles. Be kind to others. And remember, every moment is a new chance to choose peace. In this way, anger becomes a teacher, not a tyrant. It shows where patience is needed. And patience, when practiced fully, leads to a life of deep calm and true freedom. Imagine a life where the waves of anger no longer disturb your mind's calm ocean. Imagine waking each day feeling peaceful, no matter what challenges appear. This is not just a dream or an impossible ideal. It is the natural state waiting inside you, the eternal calm that is your true nature. To live beyond anger means to live free. Free from the burning fire inside. Free from the chains of hurt and frustration. Free from the storms that rage when the world does not go as you wish. But this freedom does not come from force or willpower alone. It blossoms gently when the mind learns to rest in stillness and clarity. You have traveled this path with us, from understanding anger's roots through moments of mindfulness, compassion, and patience. Now, it is time to see what it means to live fully calm, beyond anger, beyond reaction. To be like a deep lake that reflects the sky without disturbance. When anger arises, it is like a ripple on the surface of a lake. It is natural for ripples to come and go. But what if you do not chase the ripple? What if you simply watch it, without pushing it away or pulling it closer? The ripple loses its power when it meets your calm presence. The Zen way is to recognize that anger is not who you truly are. It is a passing guest, a cloud that drifts across your clear sky. You do not fight the cloud, nor do you cling to it. You let it be, knowing the sky is always there, vast and unchanged. To live beyond anger is to live with wisdom and kindness. It means seeing others as they are, imperfect and struggling, just as you are. When you see with this kindness, anger cannot grow. It has no root to hold on to. This calm is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be peaceful. It is about understanding deeply where anger comes from and meeting it with gentle awareness. The Buddha taught that by seeing clearly, we dissolve the causes of suffering. Imagine now that your heart is a garden. If anger is like a weed, then calmness is the sunlight and water that helps the flowers grow. You do not force the flowers, you simply create the right conditions, and they bloom naturally. Your daily actions, your gentle thoughts, your patient breath, these are the care that nurtures peace. Every time you pause before reacting, you water the garden. Every time you breathe with awareness, you clear the weeds. Over time, the garden changes. It becomes a place where peace is the natural state. Living beyond anger also means embracing change. The world is always changing. People come and go, situations rise and fall. If we cling tightly, we suffer. But when we accept change as part of life, we find freedom. The Zen master does not say that anger will never appear again. Anger is a wave on the ocean of your mind. But what matters is how you respond to that wave. Do you let it crash and drown you? Or do you ride it with balance and let it pass? The final teaching is this. Peace is not something to chase. It is not a distant goal, but the ground beneath your feet. It is your true nature. When you stop chasing anger and stop running from it, you find yourself resting in peace. You are not your anger. You are the calm behind it. You are the sky beyond the cloud. You are the stillness beneath the noise. This is your invitation to live in that calm every day, to breathe it, to feel it, to be it. And when anger comes, greet it with a smile in your heart and let it go. If this message has touched your heart, remember to like this video, share it with those who need peace, and subscribe to Wisdom Writings. Your support helps us bring this light to more people. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below, and to keep your spirit strong and positive, comment Namo Buddhi, a reminder of the Buddha's path and the peace within you. May your days be calm, your heart be gentle, and your life be free from the fire of anger. This is the eternal calm. This is your true home.